We'll be focusing on task one solutions because task one for many of the students is really a very problematic task because they complain that they can't come up with ideas, they can't be fast, and also they don't know how to express themselves in the best way sometimes. Why? In this module, we'll come up with solutions. All right, let's go to the next one. Just a minute. All right, let's start with task one basics now. TOEFL speaking question is called the personal choice question. You must give your opinion about various topics. Currently, three main styles are used on the test. The first one is agree or disagree. State whether you agree or disagree with the following statement, then explain your reasons using specific details in your argument. Pair choice. In the style of TOEFL speaking question one, you must pick between two contrasting choices. Good idea questions. In this new style, a choice or situation is described. You should state if you think it's a good idea. When you take the test, you will get one of these styles. You will be given 15 seconds to prepare your answer, and 45 seconds is very important. The raters have a rubric in their hands, and then they check your response on three speaking criteria: topic development, language use, and delivery. Now, topic development is the organization of your response, like you start with an introduction sentence, then reason, one reason or two reasons. I will be explaining that later. And then also specific details and conclusion. You don't always have to say conclusion if you don't have time, but your response needs to be organized. Then phrasing should be very natural, casual, and informal. Then the timing should be 45 seconds, for task one and 60 seconds for the other responses. Now, language use is grammar. You must be able to use basic and complex grammar structures for speaking 26. It's okay if you have some mistakes, but no, you cannot have many mistakes. And some tutors say, oh, if grammar is really not important, don't worry about grammar. Please, please do not believe that. This is not correct information. Those tutors have never looked up here, I'm going to show it here. I'm going to be putting this also in the download. TOEFL IBT test like rubrics. This is actually from ETS. It exhibits like language use, for example. The response demonstrates effective use of grammar and vocabulary. It exhibits a fairly high degree of automaticity with good control of basic and complex structures. Yes, some minor or systematic errors are noticeable but do not obscure meaning. Okay, so don't think that, oh, it's okay if I have grammar mistakes. That's not true. Now, you must be able to use a variety of vocabulary, and especially if you use high-level vocabulary, which you will be learning in this course, then you will be getting a higher score. Now, delivery is how you sound. You need to sound very confident, enthusiastic. It's okay if you have if you have an accent, but your accent needs to be very neutral, and also the accent needs to be clear so that the rater doesn't put an effort to understand your English. You must speak with a natural pace of speed, not too fast and not too slow, and it will really help if you speak with the English language flow. All right, so as I said before, I'm going to be posting this in the download section so you can download it and read it with more details. Okay, so let's start with task one basics now. You read the prompt. You read it a little bit faster because you really don't have time. You have only 15 seconds to take notes. You make a snap decision. Don't change your mind. So don't say to yourself, oh, should I talk about this or should I talk about that? You really don't have time. Whatever comes to your mind, just focus on that. You need to be very focused and fast at this stage. You need to think fast and respond clearly. You have only 15 seconds to prepare, then you have 45 seconds to answer. Now, task one, strategies for note-taking. Choice, you make a choice. The reason, it can be one reason or two reasons. Make sure that the reasons, sentences are impressive. They're not too general. They shouldn't be too specific either, but not too general. Specific details, then you start to talk about specific details or examples. This is the most important part of task one success. You have to speak with details and specifics. Good note taking will allow you to speak a structured, cohesive response with great topic development. Then you will get a higher score. Now, in the introduction sentence, you need to restate the question, lift keywords or phrases out of the prompt, and embed them in your introduction. Example, question is, in your opinion, what is the best way to encourage kids to read? Join a reading competition, attend a book fair at school, read out loud with parents or teachers. So introduction sentence by using keywords from the question should be like this. One of the reasons I think joining a reading competition is the best way to encourage kids to read is because it can motivate them to improve their reading skills. Now, we say our reason sentence, one reason or two reason sentences, and make sure that we don't sound very general. And then after the reason sentence, we have to talk about specific details and examples. Now, these are the strategies for topic development. One, focus on giving detailed descriptions like what, where, how, when, and how something affects your daily life, emotions, ideas, finances, career, family, or community health. Talk about a personal experience with details. Here are some sample responses. There's one sample response actually. It is a good idea to take a break from using cellular phones for a month. Do you agree or disagree? So I want you to think while you're taking notes, how will taking a break from using cellular phones affect me, affect my life? Well, maybe affect your mental health, affect your career. You don't have to, of course, talk about all of these. You'll pick one. Although not using cell phones for a weekend could be really helpful and very relaxing, I think that taking a break from using my cell phone for a whole month could be a real disaster. Now I'm explaining these in detail. This is mainly because I find my cell phone to be a very effective tool in every activity that I'm involved in. Since I am a pharmacist, I deal with patients and new cases on a daily basis. So whenever I have a question, I usually use my online medical dictionary or even browse many health websites in order to find a response to a very hard question or concern. As you can see, this would really affect your career, okay, when you're dealing with patients. Besides that, since I recently moved to this area, there are so many places that I'm not familiar with yet. So I usually use my GPS every time I'm confused or I'm not sure I'm driving in the right direction. And taking a break from using cellular phone would really affect your driving. Okay, so that's what you need to focus on. Now, the second strategy is recently I read some news in the local newspaper, personal experience, according to a study research done lately, personal experience. Or I just watched a movie or I watched a documentary on National Geographic. You can also say those, things. Okay, here's the example. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Universities should give the same amount of money to their students' sports activities as they give to their university libraries. Use specific reasons and examples to support your opinion. I believe that the university should give the same amount of money to their students' sports activities because this will encourage mental fitness among the students. Today, most of the university students are stressed out because of several assignments and presentations they have to do. I recently read an article in a major newspaper which pointed out that physical exercises reduce stress by 40%. For example, when I was a university student, every time I felt anxious, I went out for a run. Honestly, after spending 1 hour running, I felt like I was a new person, full of energy and ready to take on life again. As you can see, I recently read an article in a major newspaper which pointed out that, just a minute, where did I go? All right, so you can see that I am really using this strategy, but make sure that you use the correct grammar structure. Like some of my students say, I recently read an article. According to the article, like don't repeat those. Just memorize this. Like I recently read an article, or I watched a documentary in National Geographic, which pointed out that. Okay, make sure that you use the correct grammar structure, and then also after that, you can see that there is this. Oh, I should put a full stop here. Sorry about this. And then after this, you see that you give personal experience, like you kind of connect the personal experience. From task 126 plus strategies. 1. Make longer sentences. Like one of the reasons why I think one of the advantages of taking online classes is the reason why people should exercise on a daily basis is because what I really love about digital books is that what really frustrates people about living in the city is something that really makes people nervous is personally, I think there's one important factor that separates great leaders from ordinary leaders, and it is there. I was reading the newspaper the other day and I heard some research that was done. Basically, you give an explanation. One of the things that's really interesting about this research is that the reason people don't take good care of the environment is because they don't educate themselves about well, these are just sample, sentences. You can always change them. What frustrates me is the lack of transportation in the city. Well, I actually never thought about this question before, but to be honest, now that I think of my experience I can say with confidence that I'm pretty convinced that I believe one approach that will be useful is whatever it is, right? And then make sure that you use score maximizing grammar structures, like even though, although, and if sentences. Use gerunds in the sentences, like verb plus ing, both in the subject and object part of the sentence, whenever it is okay to use. For example, running is hard for me, or I like running. Use adverbs such as personally, definitely, honestly, basically, actually to sound more natural and give emphasis. Here's a sample question. Task 1 question. Many people give up easily on achieving their goals because of external distractions. Most of the time, they start any kind of work with enthusiasm, but then they don't continue to complete it because of many reasons. However, when people have a goal, they stay more focused on accomplishing the difficult tasks. Do you agree or disagree with this statement? I definitely agree with the statement that when people have a goal, they stay more focused and overcome difficulties easily. Personally, one of the goals that I set for myself last year was to lose 30 pounds. I made this decision after feeling tired all the time and having the symptoms of a pre-diabetic patient. Actually, I focused on decreasing my meal portions, eating healthy food, and exercising regularly. Honestly, at the beginning, even though trying to lose weight was extremely hard, it got easier and easier as I focused on my goal. If I felt unmotivated to continue the diet, I found ways to motivate myself and lost 30 pounds within 6 months. So basically, I set a goal, and by being determined and focused, I achieved what I wanted. So that was a sample response using all the gerunds and adverbs and score maximizing grammatical structures and long sentences. In the next lesson, I'll be teaching about 3 possible templates with sample responses. See you there.